Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys week 10 of the UCL. The St. Louis Rampardos are taking on Coach PK Sparx, Dad Hotness, and the Philadelphia Feraligatrs. The battle of the longest yo on YouTube. It is here, it is time, it is now. I'm so excited for this match, man. Definitely a must win for us. If you haven't checked out the team builder, definitely do so. That's in the description below. You can see what 6 Pokemon we're bringing and why we're bringing them, what I'm predicting him to bring, which you can see on the screen right now, my predictions. And we do have a question of the day today. We are bringing our Raichu here, which is getting that Pika Blue action, Alola Raichu in Sun and Moon. What Alola Pokemon from the Kanto region do you want to see most in Sun and Moon? We've already gotten Sandshrew, Vulpix, Ninetales, Raichu, and Exeggutor. Maybe some other ones, Marowak, but let me know in the comment section below which Pokemon you want to see the most. I would love to see like an Alolan Scyther or Pinsir, or even Parasect. I saw a rumor of Parasect with Morlul becoming like a different kind of mushroom, and that would be really cool in my opinion. But nevertheless, it is time for us to connect here with PK Sparx. Definitely a must-win situation for us. I spent a lot of time team building this week, so I'm hoping we can pick up a W. And as always, show your love on that like button down below if you guys are excited. Head smash that like button rather, and subscribe if you are new. Without further ado, let me get connected with PK here, and we're gonna jump right into the match. All right, guys, we are connected here with PK Sparx. Very excited about this match, and I'm very curious to see what team he's gonna bring. I'm really expecting the Raikou, the Togekiss, and I think he's either gonna bring Breloom or Scrafty. Hopefully he doesn't bring both, if I'm being completely honest, but we'll see what he does. Maybe Bronzong as well, as it is a reliable Stealth Rock setter, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that show up. But I think I have the right team here to come out with a W, and one of the big things I'm really excited about is to give Sparky some action here. Our Raichu making its debut this season. This is the only one of the Pokemon hasn't been used yet, which is Stoutland. So I'm going to try to fit in Stoutland here at the end of the season too. But this is a really good matchup for Raichu in my opinion. And the fact that he just doesn't have any ground or electric immunities, being able to Volt Switch around freely should be pretty nice. Obviously that Togekiss, the Gator, those things are weak to our electric type attacks. Milotic as well if he decides to bring that. So we do have a couple things that we could work with there. And simply just being able to pivot around with Volt Switch will hopefully prove to be very, very effective. We've got the HP ground there for the Raikou and otherwise, but you know, it's gonna really depend. Like I said, I'm a little concerned about some of his setup sweepers as always because they are threats. Feraligatr, for example, potentially a bulk up variant of Scrafty or even a Dragon Dance variant. I think the bulk up one is more scary to me than the DD, but nevertheless, they're both relatively frightening, and I have to be very, very cautious about how I go about handling those Pokemon. So I'm gonna kind of just give it a second here and see. It looks like we're about to connect, so that's really good, and we're gonna find out what his team is. Looks like he brings some stuff I did not expect at all, but that's okay. He does bring the Roselia, does not bring the Feraligatr, brings the Roselia instead, which is okay with me because I don't really consider that thing to be too scary. It's a Roselia. He brings the Arcanine, does bring the Breloom, does not bring no, he does bring Raikou, brings the Togekiss, brings the Breloom, brings the Arcanine, Roselia, and Bronzong. So it looks like we actually got his team right, minus the Scrafty, yeah, I guess minus the Scrafty. He brings the Roselia, so very interesting. Yeah, he doesn't bring Gator or anything, so let me just make sure I got everything here. Togekiss, Bronzong, Roselia, Arcanine, Raikou, and Breloom. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have his team written down here. I think I'm good now. I'm sorry, I keep triple checking it, but I'm just making sure I have everything good. So leads on his end, very likely lead for him to lead with that Bronzong potentially. He could also lead with his Breloom. I'm kind of thinking I should lead with my Mega Venusaur to get that evolution off right off the bat, because I can knock off the Bronzong and then switch out, and Bronzong really can't do much to me, and I have a couple different things I could bring in against that thing like our Godzilla if I needed to. So let's actually do that. I think getting that Mega Evolution off right off the bat is going to be very useful, and being able to knock off an item there is good. I don't want to lead with Godzilla, because if he leads Breloom, then I'm gonna have to switch out anyway. So let's do that. Let's lead with our Mega Venusaur here and see how things go right off the bat. But most likely leads is going to be that Bronzong, potentially Raikou or Roselia. I guess he could lead Breloom, but if he does, that's why I'm going to lead with Mega Venusaur. We'll find out if he has that Aerial Ace or not, and I can threaten him immediately with a Sludge Bomb, which will OHKO. I've got the knockoff there for Bronzong, which is nice too, so getting rid of that item could be useful, and I'm actually carrying the knockoff on Venusaur just on the off chance he did bring Roselia, which he did, so we'll see here. Venusaur is going to be our lead. He is going to lead with what? Liberty Bell, or he's going to lead with Arcanine, actually, which is actually okay with me, because I can choose to do a couple things here. I could simply, he's an Intimidate variant, which is very nice to note. He is Intimidate. I could do a couple things here. I could choose to simply go for a knockoff here. I could take any attack from this thing really without a problem, and I'll get some intel on what his set is here. If he is an offensive variant, his Flare Blitz is a 2-hit KO, but I'm really not too concerned about that. I'm thinking a knockoff is my best play, even though he does have the Intimidate here. Getting rid of an item and a potential switch in a Bronzong would be nice to get rid of that thing's leftovers, and you know, reducing the recovery on this thing is going to be important. So let's do that. Let's go for that knockoff right here on the first turn. I should be able to synthesis off the damage if he's not an offensive variant, and anything he switches into will lose its item, which will be very beneficial as he doesn't have a Mega Pokemon to switch into here. So we'll see what he's going to do, but the Intimidate leads me to believe that he might be a more defensive variant, but looks like he is going to stay in here on the first turn, potentially go for a Flare Blitz. If he does have that Life Orb, we will be able to knock it off here, which would be very nice. If he's a Leftovers variant, he might just go for a Will-O-Wisp. He is going to click the Flare Blitz here, which is probably going to do a tremendous amount to us. We are Mega Evolved, of course, and it does about a little over half, which does lead me to believe he is that Life Orb variant, as I expected, and there is the Life Orb. So we are going to get rid of that Life Orb, though, which is very, very nice here. We're going to knock it off, and there goes that. So he has no item now, and we saw Flare Blitz. So I have a couple of different things to do here. Let me see here, based on that damage against if he's Adamant, his Flare Blitz does 50 to 59. So he did, let's see here, I'm at 83 out of 187, so we're going to run some calcs here. So I'm at currently 44%. 44%. If you take the Life Orb off, he can OHKO if he is Adamant. If he is not Adamant, he actually cannot knock us out in one hit here, no matter what. Under no circumstances can he knock us out here if he is not Adamant. Now, I'm trying to determine whether or not I can find out if he's Adamant or not based on the previous damage there. So let me run some calcs here. He did, let's see here, he did 187 minus 83, just gonna do the math on the calc. I can't type, so we'll have to think quickly here. So he did 104, so 104 out of 187 means he did 55% to us, which if he was Jolly, that would have been an absolute max roll. So I am thinking he is an Adamant Nature Arcanine. The Vaporeon can switch in here if I need him to. I'm actually thinking I'm going to make the switch into my Godzilla here because I can get my rocks up on him. And I can take a Flare Blitz, no problem. And I can negate his Morning Sun. He's not going to close combat, I don't believe. He's likely to Flare Blitz here or go for the Wild Charge. I don't think Godzilla is going to be all that useful this match, so I'm actually going to go to Godzilla here. And I do have the Chople Berry in case he does go for like a close combat. But I'm not exactly expecting that. So let's go to T-Tar here, see what he's going to do. But he doesn't have an item anymore. And we'll see if he predicts the switch here. I do believe he's Adamant, though. He is gonna go for the Morning Sun, so we actually are gonna we're actually gonna kind of negate that a little bit, as you can see there. Flare Blitz and Morning Sun. Okay, so my play here, 1,000,000%, is actually just to go for Stone Edge, because really, I mean, he could go into Breloom here, which could be problematic, or I could just T-Wave, because if I T-Wave the Breloom, that would be really nice. I'm thinking I want to T-Wave here. He doesn't really, I mean, he could have Heal Bell on the Togekiss, but getting off a T-Wave, and then I could Stone Edge on the following turn. He very well may switch out into Breloom, so that's why I'm thinking a T-Wave makes the most sense here. And if Breloom comes out, I would just go into my Mence. So I'm going to just go for that T-Wave right here off the bat. It's very likely he switches, but we saw Flare Blitz, Morning Sun, so he's like a very offensive variant. And this is our first, we've got one turn of Sand so far. This will be turn 2 here, so I want to make notes of that. But he doesn't have an item, and he's about 65%, we'll say for now. But that Flare Blitz definitely hit pretty hard, but getting rid of his Life Orb will enable Vaporeon to take 2 Wild Charges if he has it. But he may not have close combat. If he's got Morning Sun and Flare Blitz, he may have Wild Charge or something like that. But either way, T-Wave is my play here. I 100% live a close combat at this point in time, since he doesn't have a Life Orb. And I can take the hit and then fire off a Stone Edge on the following turn. Because an Adamant close combat does about 60 to 70%. And realistically, I don't need the Sand in this match, so it's okay for me to get my, hopefully paralyze this thing, get my rocks up or something like that. And if he doesn't have the close combat, then we're okay here to sit in front of this thing. He is going to switch, so it leads me to believe he doesn't have close combat. I'm assuming Breloom is coming in here. Here comes Roselia instead, actually, which is fine by me. I'm going to get a nice T-Wave off here on the Roselia, and we're going to paralyze this this thing, so he is paralyzed. Now, really all he can do to me, he could Giga Drain, he could, you know, go for some shenanigans like that. I'm not really too concerned about Roselia at this point, so me getting at my Stealth Rocks here is my best play. Again, T-Tar is nice, but I actually am not wanting the Sand there because I do want to be able to Synthesis up with my Venusaur later. So that's going to be, this is turn 3 of Sand here, once this move goes through. But we do paralyze the Roselia, which is nice. I guess he could have Aromatherapy on his Roselia, which I didn't really think of, but it's going to be important for me to get my Venusaur in against this thing and knock off its item. I do have the opportunity to go into Excadrill, and I can Earthquake this thing and do a lot to him. If he wants to set up T-Spikes, I obviously have an answer for that. So we're just going to go for our rocks here, get those up. That's going to do 25% to his Arcanine and his Togekiss on entry, and get some crucial chip damage. Here comes the Giga Drain coming from this thing, but I don't really anticipate that to do too much. As you can see, not really a ton of damage there. And that's going to be turn 3 of Sand. So I don't know if he's going to make a prediction here and double out or anything like that, but I'm really pretty safe to just go into Asparagus here and get my Synthesis off. So we'll see what he's going to do, but Roselia shouldn't really be able to do too much to me, even with like an HP Fire or something. I don't really anticipate too much of an issue here. He is going to go for the Toxic Spike, so he does show T-Spikes, which is fine. I mean, I do have obviously the ability to handle those. Now, I know the Sand is up, which is kind of inhibiting my ability to go for a Synthesis here, but getting the most amount of health back on this thing is incredibly important, and going for a knockoff here might not be my best play. I'm going to have to Synthesis, even though I'm not going to get a ton of health back here. I really, even if it's only 25%, that 25% is better than nothing. It'll allow me to take another hit from the Arcanine, so we are going to go for the Synthesis here as I kind of scout out this guy's set a little bit more. And I obviously can get rid of his T-Spikes with my Venusaur, so let me just make a note to myself that T-Spikes are on the field with 1 layer, because that's very important to note. But we saw Giga Drain, we saw T-Spikes, maybe like Sludge Bomb on this thing would be his other move. He's going to stay in here, which is actually ideal for me. I'm going to get a Synthesis off. I'm really not expecting this thing to be able to do much to me. His powder moves are limited. He's going to actually get fully paralyzed this turn, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. Sandstorm does go away, which is nice. And I'm actually just going to go for a knockoff here. If he wants to switch into Arcanine, that's fine. Arcanine doesn't want to take a hit, and now that I'm in range to live a Flare Blitz, so I'm less concerned about that. If Togekiss comes in, I can get rid of its item, which will be really nice. But saving Asparagus and keeping it above half health is going to be really important for this match. So I'm thinking he's probably just going to stay in this turn. If he really wanted to get that second layer of T-Spikes up, he may just stay in here. But obviously I have Excadrill, which is immune to it and can spin. Obviously I have Venusaur, which will get rid of it. We're going to get rid of its item here, which I'm assuming is going to be an Eviolite. Very nice, so we do get rid of that. And he's going to go for the Extra Sensory, which I really doubt is going to do a whole lot to us. You're going to see it do a little bit, but not too much. So we see the Extra Sensory on his Roselia. Very cool, but no item now. And based on that damage, no problem. I'm just going to click the Synthesis here. It's really my best play, even though we'll have to keep an eye on our syntheses. We only have 8 total, so we've used 1 of them, but keeping Venusaur at as high of health as possible is very important for this match, and you can see that Extra Sensory really just isn't going to do too much to my Venusaur. He very well could make a play into Bronzong here, predicting my Synthesis, but I'm not too concerned about that because I know I can take a hit. I doubt Bronzong's going to do over half to me with a Psychic, and I'm going to be sitting at a really good amount of health after this, especially if he switches. If he switches, then I'm going to be sitting at a very, very nice amount of health. And I could just go straight into my Excadrill and start firing off Earthquakes, because his really only switch into an Earthquake is that Togekiss at this point in time. And if he brings that in, that's fine. I just go right into Raichu, and Raichu's got that Assault Vest, so it is ready to take on Togekiss no matter what it does. So we'll kind of see what he's going to do here, but I'm feeling pretty good at this point in time. We did paralyze the Roselia, we got our Rocks up, which was a main goal of this, and we've been managing to keep Asparagus healthy enough here. Again, in the team builder, I mentioned how important Venusaur was in this match, as it really matches up incredibly well against his entire team. Smart move on his part, though, bringing that max attack Adamant Arcanine. I had a feeling that was something he would bring, as it does handle a lot of my team, but now that I'm thinking he doesn't have the close combat, that definitely helps with T-Tar, because I can kind of negate his Morning Sun and be able to handle that relatively well. But I'm going to go for the Synthesis here. I'm expecting an Extra Sensory again, but you're going to see we're going to be sitting up almost at full. He's going to go for Synthesis himself here, actually, which is fine by me. The thing that this is actually doing, though, is he is actually giving me an opportunity to go right into my, I can actually go into my Salamence here and set up in front of this thing, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that's the play I want to make, but let me just take a look at Roselia here, and maybe I can kind of deduce whether he's physically defensive or specially defensive, but he does not have an Eviolite anymore. Definitely specially. Yeah, Sludge Bomb isn't going to do too much to him. I could go into my Salamence here, though, and start setting up on this thing, because I could click Dragon Dance, and really, he doesn't have a switch in for that anymore. He really doesn't have a switch in for that anymore. I mean, he could go to Bronzong, but I'm thinking this is the time I pull the trigger on my Salamence, because Extra Sensory really just isn't going to do much to me. It does like 25%. Giga Drain is going to do nothing. And I can set up a Dragon Claw after +1. We actually have a chance to OHKO Roselia. So let's make that play. We're going to go straight into Airheart here, which obviously does skillfully dodge those T-Spikes. And we're going to try to set up on this Roselia here, knowing its full moveset now. Giga Drain, T-Spikes, Extra Sensory, and Synthesis. The worst he can do to me is Extra Sensory here. So we'll get the Intimidate off. It's irrelevant. And we'll see if he decides to stay in. He is going to be fully paralyzed in this turn, so a bit unfortunate events there, but I really have no reason not to just click Dragon Dance here, because if Arcanine comes in, I can probably OHKO it with after Rocks, because I know he's offensive, so and I'm pretty sure he's adamant, but I'll double check for Jolly. After +1, you know, we're going to OHKO with Stone Edge, so I'm just going to click Dragon Dance here. I really lose nothing by doing so. And again, I can 2-KO the Bronzong with Crunch. Dragon Claw is going to put the work in on Breloom, which is very nice. And it looks like Salamence actually has a really good opportunity to put a huge dent in his team here. And at +1, Stone Edge after Rocks will most likely knock out the Togekiss, unless he's fully physically defensive. Actually, even if he is fully physically defensive, we do still knock him out with a Stone Edge. So after +1. So either way, this is a relatively good situation for us. Best case scenario, he stays in, but he is not going to stay in against this. That wouldn't make any sense anyway. He's going to go right into Arcanine here, so he's going to get the Intimidate off on us, take some Rocks damage, and that's actually going to put us at +1 speed, which will allow us to outspeed the Arcanine, but we'll be neutral on the attack stat. So we're gonna be neutral on the attack stat. Let me take a look here at this Arcanine. If he's offensive, actually with the Intimidate, let me take a look here if he's Intimidate, because Intimidate's gonna activate here. Yeah, Stone Edge does knock him out. Dragon Claw actually will knock him out as well, assuming he's fully offensive. If I don't want to risk the chance of missing here, there's a part of me that wants to click Dragon Dance again, because realistically, we've seen this thing Flare Blitz and Morning Sun. What else is he gonna do to me? He could go for a Will-O-Wisp, but I'm thinking, I mean, is he gonna have HP Ice on this thing? Let me take a look at Arcanine's pool here, and HP Ice, would that even knock me out if he's adamant? I really don't think it would, and that'd be a really strange set. Hidden Power Ice, let's take a look here. It doesn't actually knock me out if he's adamant. This is kind of an interesting play here. I can go for the big play and really try to hit him hard. I mean, there's really no reason for him to have HP Ice. He could be a mixed variant, but, and that's with Life Orb. Yeah, he's definitely not gonna knock us out with an HP Ice here. I think I just go for a second Dragon Dance. He's gonna go for the extreme speed, thinking we're gonna knock him out, but we don't. We actually are just gonna click Dragon Dance here and set up again on him. And we're gonna make a note here that he does have extreme speed in case he decides to preserve this thing. But I'm in a situation now where I am +1. I'm +1 if you take the Intimidate away. And a Dragon Claw will most certainly knock him out from here. If he does go into Bronzong, I know I can Crunch. Crunch looks like it's close to knocking him out, but I'm thinking the Dragon Claw is the best play, because Dragon Claw plus Crunch should knock out the Bronzong. So let's just go for the Dragon Claw here. If he wants to go into something else, that's fine. He's just going to Extreme Speed us again, so he's just trying to get as much damage as he can. He gets a crit there. That may actually factor in, but either way, Salamence picks up the kills. The Salamence kills Arcanine with Dragon Claw. And it's definitely unfortunate there that he got that crit, but it's not a big deal, man. So we're going to get rid of the Arcanine, which was a huge threat. Arcanine was one of the primary threats to dealing with our Venusaur. So Dragon Claw will knock that thing out, and the extreme speeds there do quite a bit of damage. That's what we do when we're battling. We just beatbox. But Arcanine's down, no problemo. He could go into Breloom, try to Mach Punch. I don't believe that would be enough, though. I mean, he'd have to be pretty strong for this Breloom to knock me out with a Mach Punch here. Yeah, Mach Punch does 15 to 17. Actually, without the Intimidate, he may be able, if he's Life Orb, he may be able to knock us out with a Mach Punch here. So we're sitting at like 30-something, maybe 38 out of 177. So we're sitting at about 10%, 21%. Here comes Togekiss, actually, which is what I wanted to see, because at +1, we can just click Stone Edge here, and that will knock out the Togekiss 100% of the time. We have nothing to stress here. Stone Edge does knock him out 100% of the time after Rocks, so I'm just going to click Stone Edge here. We are going to connect the Stone Edge, which is very, very nice. Definitely needed that, and he's going to go down 100%. Like I said, he does 75 to 88, and of course, he was at 75. So kills Togekiss with Stone Edge. And Men's picking up 2 kills here, so we definitely pulled the trigger on that at a very good time. Here comes Bronzong. Now, unfortunately, because that Intimidate drop from earlier, I cannot actually knock out Bronzong in 1 hit, but what I can do is I can fire off a mean Crunch here and do almost enough to knock him out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just go for the Crunch here, obviously, prepared for the Bronzong. This is gonna do, depending on if he's physically defensive or specially, about 80%. It is gonna do just about that, bring him all the way down. We get a defense drop there, which isn't really gonna matter. And here comes the Psychic from the Bronzong, which will, of course, knock us out, and it does. So Bronzong's gonna kill Salamence there. Bronzong kills Salamence with Psychic. And now I'm in a situation where I could simply go into a number of things here. I can go into Sparky, click Volt Switch, trying to knock him out. I can go into Excadrill and click Earthquake and definitely knock him out. I can go into Godzilla, go for the Crunch, knock him out. That might bait in the Breloom. Either way, Breloom is going to get baited in here, so I have to be kind of cautious. Sparky may be my best play, though, simply to just go for a Thunderbolt to knock this thing out. But I kind of want to keep it healthy. I'm just trying to think of what my best option is to pivot around here. Because if he goes into Breloom and I click Earthquake, how much am I going to do to a Breloom with an Earthquake? Let me take a look here. I'm going to do about up to 45%. So not exactly a ton. Not exactly a ton. Obviously, Earthquake will knock this thing out. Sparky could come in here and pick up its first kill, go for a Volt Switch on the Bronzong, or a potential Thunderbolt. If he's max, Thunderbolt actually may not knock him out. So you know what? I'm thinking the best play here is simply go into Excadrill and click Earthquake, because he doesn't have a flying type anymore. Earthquake's gonna knock this thing out. It would knock out the Raikou if it comes in. His best play here is to go into the Breloom, but that's kind of risky. So I'm just gonna simply click Earthquake here, and we'll make some things happen. I do have to remember that the T-Spikes are out too. That's something that's important to note. But Excadrill is gonna kill Bronzong with EQ, so that thing's gone. So we got rid of 3 of his threats so far: Togekiss, Bronzong, and Excadrill, and Arcanine. He's got Roselia without an Eviolite, Raikou, and Breloom left. Got to be very careful with that Raikou. If he's a Calm Mind variant, that could be very problematic, actually. But here comes that Breloom, so not too surprising to see this thing come out. Now, I'm gonna be honest. At this point in the match, my play 1,000,000% is to, let's see here. I'm thinking just go into Vaporeon, because Vaporeon is actually, I could just let it go down. I just don't want to go into Asparagus right now and take an Aerial Ace, so I'm just going to sack off Vaporeon at this point in the match, because it doesn't have any usefulness now with the last 3 Pokemon that are left. There's really no reason for me to keep it around. So I understand that he very well could go for like a Bullet Seed or something like that, but I'm not too concerned here. The biggest issue is if he actually were to click like Swords Dance right now. That would actually be incredibly problematic if he were to go for like a Swords Dance, because he might actually just sweep at that point, but only if he has Aerial Ace. If he doesn't have Aerial Ace, we're okay. We'll go to Vaporeon here in case he just decides to do some shenanigans. I don't know what kind of Breloom set this is yet. We haven't seen an item, and again, I just don't want to go straight to Venusaur here on the off chance he does carry the Aerial Ace. That would be incredibly risky. Vaporeon doesn't do anything to Raikou. It's not going to do anything to Roselia. I am going to get poisoned here on entry, but that's fine. I'm basically sacking off Vaporeon at this point in the match to get my Venusaur in for free. But we'll see what he's going to do here. If this is a setup Breloom, though, it could be very problematic. I would need my Venusaur to be able to get in here and put in some work. But I do have the Roar on the Vaporeon, so if he tries to set up multiple times on me, it's not a big deal. But we'll see what he's going to do. But I'm definitely switching out here. I'm obviously Scarfed, so I'm not going to take the risk of taking like a Mach Punch here, and that Scarf can come in handy against the Raikou or the Roselia. You know, I can hit those both pretty hard with Earthquake. So We'll make the switch. We obviously are going to get poison here. I'm expecting some sort of fighting move. There comes the Mach Punch. Not too surprising there. We're going to see it do very little damage, actually. He does not reveal any items, which is very nice. Okay, so we get a little bit of intel there. We're going to get poisoned here, which isn't a big deal. I'm actually thinking, oh, he is the Toxic Heal, so he's going to be poisoned. And he is the Toxic Heal variant. So I'm thinking I just Roar, if I'm being completely honest. Or I could set up a Wish and switch, but I just don't want him to do any big damage to me. Because Venusaur just straight up bops this thing. Like, Venusaur comes in against Breloom. If he's not Life Orb, I mean, he's really not going to be doing too much to me. And he's not Technician either now. So now I'm way less concerned about Aerial Ace, because now Aerial Ace only does, 32% to me. So I'm going to click Roar here just to be safe in case he is a Swords Dance variant. He does show the Bullet Seed, so not a big deal. I'm sacking off Vaporeon at this point anyway. So if he knocks us out, it's fine. He doesn't, that's okay. We're going to get the Roar off here, but we see the Bullet Seed. He's going to be sitting at about full when he enters, and in comes the Roselia. Not a huge deal there. We know this thing's full set, so we can kind of work around that. My play here is actually just to go for Wish, I believe. Getting up a Wish would be pretty nice, and then I can just go into Venusaur and start Sludge Bombing. I can go into Excadrill and EQ, so I have a couple options there. Let's just go for that Wish right now. If he Giga Drains us and knocks us out, that's fine. I'm really not too concerned about this thing. An Excadrill against Roselia without an item is probably going to do a ton, if I'm being completely honest. You take that item off of him, Excadrill actually can OHKO. It actually can OHKO him if he's especially defensive. So he's going to Giga Drain here. We actually might live it. We don't. So Roselia does pick up a kill. Roselia kills Vaporeon with Giga Drain. Okay, so let's think about our best option here. I'm thinking, I mean, obviously Asparagus is incredibly useful at this point in the match. Excadrill can come in here and just start clicking Earthquake. And if Breloom comes in, I mean, actually, I'm thinking I just Iron Head, if I'm being completely honest, because Iron Head will bop the Breloom too, and I can 2 KO that thing. And since he's not Life Orb and Technician, I actually can live a Mach Punch too. You take the Technician off of him, I'm living a Mach Punch, no problem. So Iron Head does 2 KO. And I can take the hits from the Roselia pretty well and 2 KO that with an Iron Head. His Giga Drain isn't going to do too much to me. Let me think about this. I'm just trying to save Asparagus because I feel like Asparagus can win this game. I could go to Godzilla here. I'm actually outsped by Roselia though. Let's go into Excadrill. Let's go into Excadrill here, and we're going to just click, and the T-Spikes are still up. I got to keep remembering that, but I could just click Iron Head here, I think, because Raikou's not going to come in. So let's just go for the Iron Head. We have a chance to flinch too. So I just Iron Head. Predicting the Breloom. I could 2 KO it. Would he make that play? I'm going to go for the Iron Head. I am Scarfed, obviously. So we're going to hit him with an Iron Head. This should be a 2 KO. And it does bring him to half. He is going to go for the Giga Drain here. She's going to do about 30% to us. It actually does a lot more than that. He gets a crit, though, which is going to limit our ability to Iron Head more. But we're going to get the Wish back, so not a huge deal. 2 more Iron Heads will knock this thing out, though. So I'm just going to go for the Iron Heads here. I really lose nothing by doing that. And once this thing's gone, Venusaur, I think, just wins. But we'll go for the Iron Head here. That's going to do enough to bring him all the way down. He's going to get the Giga Drain off, though. So that will bring us down to an amount where we should still be able to live a Mach Punch, though, if we need to. But Iron Head will knock this thing out, so that's what we're going to go for here. I don't anticipate him saving this thing. If he wants to go to Raikou, that's fine. It's going to take a ton of damage. It's going to take, obviously Stealth Rocks, and it'll take Iron Head damage, which is a decent amount. It will do a decent amount to him. But I'm expecting him to just stay in here and sack this thing off. There's really no reason to save this thing, if I'm being completely honest. It'd be very weird if he saved it. It's so weak at this point. Iron Head does about 30%, so that Raikou will be down to about 60% after Iron Head plus Rocks. But Venusaur's looking like it should be able to shut down the rest of his team, unless he's like a Specs Raikou with extra sensory, in which case Raichu should be able to put in some work against him. And I obviously have the T-Tar, which can keep him locked into that. But that Breloom's still problematic, so we'll have to be careful with that. But if he wants to switch, man, go into Breloom. Like, I know I'm taking a hit, so we can fire off 2 Iron Heads on the Breloom too. So, because he's Poison Heal. So Mach Punch on the Poison Heal variant doesn't do that much. I'm at 129 out of 193. 129 out of 193. That puts me at about 66%. We're going to click the Iron Head here. That will knock out the Roselia. Very nice. So Excadrill kills Roselia with Iron Head. And so far we've seen Bullet Seed and Mach Punch from his Breloom. We don't know what kind of Raikou he's got, but here comes the Breloom again. And I'm actually thinking, let me think here. Do I just want to go for the Iron Head, or do I want to risk anything here? We're actually in a range where we can 100% live a Mach Punch and do about 70% to him with an Iron Head. But I like the ability to have this thing for later. So I think I'm going to make the play into Asparagus here. I don't think he's going to have Aerial Ace. So I think we're going to be safe. And I don't want him to Spore me either. He may just go for Mach Punch. But this is also to prevent him from setting up a Swords Dance. We get rid of the T-Spikes. And here comes the Substitute. So he's a Substitute variant. Okay. But I should be able to take any hit from him. I mean, his really only play is to go for I mean, if he has the Aerial Ace, it's really the only thing that's going to hurt us. I'm just going to click Sludge Bomb. We are faster too, which is very nice. That means we are going to knock this thing out on the next turn. He will not knock us out with any hit. I don't believe. I don't think there's anything he can do to us. He may Bullet Seed here. He does have the Facade, actually. Very, very cool play. It's going to do a tremendous amount to us. Actually knock us below half. But even with that, that's really cool, the Facade. I like that play, dude. Props on that idea. That's really cool. But Mega Venusaur here, just click Sludge Bomb and knocks this thing out 100% of the time. So that's what I'm going to go for. I really lose nothing. If he goes into Raikou, that's fine. Now that I know this Breloom's full set, I'm a little less concerned about it, because I can live a Facade again if I need to. Or it's pretty close anyway, I think I can. He's going to switch here, so he's going to go into that Raikou here, which is going to likely have that extra sensory. But we're going to connect a Sludge Bomb here. We obviously have a 30% chance for a Poison, which could come in handy if we can score that. But I have a great switch into this thing in my Raichu all day, every day. So we just go into Raichu after this. But the Sludge Bomb is going to come off here. It's going to do about half. We see the leftovers on this thing. Very important to note, which means he's not Specs. And I have a tough decision to make here, because he's not AV either. It's definitely not AV either, because he's got the lefties. So Sludge Bomb should have done about that. He can potentially knock me out here with an extra sensory. 88 at 187 puts that 47%. His extra sensory here coming from, he does not knock us out with extra sensory. I'm gonna make the play into Excadrill though to click Earthquake, or I can actually just go into Sparky here and start firing off T-Bolts. But the problem with that is it doesn't really do much. I could just Volt Switch, I guess, with Sparky, and I'll be slower. Let's go into Sparky here. Sparky's specifically designed to handle this Raikou and the Togekiss. So let's do that. We did see the lefties in the Raikou, so we know the full set on the Breloom, and I know I outspeed it, which is very nice. And I do still have my Chople Berry on my T-Tar too, so that's something to note. Unfortunately, I don't have much to hit the Breloom with T-Tar. How much does a Stone Edge do to it? I am max attack. He's probably HP invested too, actually. So we have to keep that in mind, that he's HP invested. Stone Edge isn't going to do much to him. It does about half. So, yeah, I'm thinking we're just going to go into Raichu here and then Volt Switch out on the Raikou. But we'll see if he does have that extra sensory here. He's going to go for the Hidden Power, so we're going to see HP. I don't know what it is. HP Ice, it's super effective. So HP Ground, actually. So we see HP Ground. Not a big deal there. I know I can take the hits. So this is a slow Volt Switch here, so I can actually Fake Out too, which is kind of cool. But I think I just go for Volt Switch. Just get as much damage off as I can and switch out, because he's likely, I guess he might stay in an HP Ground against me. But I'm fast, so I'm just going to go for Volt Switch. He's faster than me. He should be faster than me. So I'll just go for the Volt Switch here. Because if he goes into Breloom, that means I get the initiative into Venusaur and I can click Sludge Bomb again. If he stays in, he'll go first and attack me first, and then I get to go into Excadrill and click Earthquake. So I really don't lose much by that. And he's not Scarved, obviously, so I get to just click Earthquake a few times, which could be very, very useful. He's going to HP again, so he's just going to stay in here and keep clicking HP Ground. Not a big deal. Should be able to live that, no problem. Not a big deal. We're going to click the Volt Switch here, and we will get the Volt Switch off. Very nice there. You can see it does some chip damage. And that puts us in a situation where Excadrill can come in here and click Earthquake and knock this thing out at this point in time. So I'm thinking that's going to be my best play. Let's do that. I basically just need to keep this Breloom from setting up a substitute in my face again, and then we pretty much win. So he didn't show the extra sensory, so maybe he doesn't have it, but he is going to get that leftovers back, get him to just about half. I am forced to Earthquake here, though, so that is 1,000,000% my play. So we're going to Earthquake. If he goes into Breloom again, it does about 30%. He's going to stay in and sack off his Raikou, so that's fine with me. Excadrill kills Raikou with EQ. So that's fine with me, man. I'm down for that. So here's the issue, though, that I didn't really plan out, but that was really my play. Earthquake should be able to break any substitute from this thing, and it does. So the play here, 1,000,000%, is simply click Earthquake to break any substitute. If he wants to Mach Punch me, that's fine. I need to ensure that he does not get a substitute up. So we're just going to keep clicking Earthquake until... actually, he could get a substitute up here. This could be problematic for me. Maybe I should have switched. If he goes for substitute, he could take an Earthquake, go for substitute, and then he could Mach Punch me, but I should be able to live it and knock him out at that point. I should be able to live. He is going to go for the Mach Punch here. That's fine with me. Part of me wants it to knock me out. I live on 1. I would have actually rather that knocked me out, but that's okay. We're going to get the Earthquake off here, which does a sizable amount of damage. Not enough to knock him out, but a good amount of damage. And he may just go for the Facade here. I'm just going to click Earthquake again, I think. I just don't want him to go for the substitute. That would be very, very problematic, because if he gets that substitute up on us, we may have a tough time here. Do I just lose if that happens? If he sets up a substitute. I mean, T-Tar can take 1 hit, though, and go for a Stone Edge. I'm going to just go for Earthquake. I think that's my best play. He's going to go for Mach Punch. Thank you. So glad about that. Breloom kills Excadrill with Mach Punch. That's fine with me. Now I just go into Venusaur here, and I just click Sledge Bomb, and I'm pretty sure we win, because we did see I was faster than him last time, so I don't really think there's any reason for me not to. And we are currently sitting at 88 out of 187, which is 47%. So let's take a look here. This Breloom against us, assuming he's, I know he's Poison Heal. So if he goes for Facade, he does actually do... He doesn't knock us out, actually, unless he's adamant. Actually, he doesn't knock us out under any circumstances, so we just click Sledge Bomb here, and we should be able to pick up the W. So Venusaur kills a Breloom with Sledge Bomb, and that's going to be the game, man. That was actually really, really nerve-wracking at the end there, because had he gone for Substitute with Breloom after my Earthquake, instead of knocking out my Excadrill, he may not have known I was Scarfed, actually. He really didn't have any way. Oh, he did know, because I outsped the Raikou, but... either way, that could have been very interesting, because if that Breloom got the substitute up, I think I would have been okay, though, because it looks like I would have been able to stall out Facades and continue to go for Synthesis until I could live 2 of them, break the substitute with Sledge Bomb. I did outspeed, obviously, so I was going to be able to get my Synthesis off before he could Facade me anyway, and I think we would have been able to pick up the W with Venusaur at the end. But nevertheless, we are going to pick up the win here. I believe that was a 3-0. Excadrill picking up 3 kills, I think, right? Yeah, Excadrill picking up 3 kills. Very nice there. Venusaur with a kill. Salamence opening the door at the beginning of the match, getting up 2 kills there as well. So very nice match there. We're going to move to 7 and 3, guys. Very nice. Please, I encourage you to check out PK's channel in the description below and definitely show some love to the Feraligatrs. But for now, we are going to continue to head smash our way to victory. We've got the Real Maril and Mega Mogwai next week. Very, very tough opponent. He is the #1 team in the league as of right now. So very, very tough match, but I'm going to be bringing my A game and hopefully picking up a W against Miguel, as I have a little bit of vengeance there from some previous matches that maybe I threw away a little bit. So either way, great match, PK. Thank you for the match, dude. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys did enjoy this match. Sure to love that like button down below. Definitely subscribe if you're new. That's gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I'll go by aDrive, and I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.